All right, guys, welcome to our final Zoom session. Congratulations on getting to the end here. I watched one of our last Zoom sessions back, and unintentionally I realized I was doing the majority of the talking. So I'm going to try to lay back after I read through the questions here, and then we'll all just kind of analyze together. I don't think it should take too long. We have 3 different financial questions. So I guess I'll just start with the first one, and then how about let's just kind of go round robin, or everybody say what you want regarding it. It's all about a slush fund, which might be called something different at every single school you go to. I know ours is called a Fund 5, and I don't even know if it's legal. When I'm interested to see what you guys say, but it says Samantha is a new principal at a school in Cleveland County who assumed control of the school on July 1st, which is the first day of the fiscal year. She's going over the school finances and discovers the following issues or concerns. Here's the first one that we'll go over. She couldn't figure out how the school paid for some shirts for the football team, but there was a receipt for $331 marked paid. The shirts had actually been delivered that morning, and some of the coaches working at a camp dropped by to pick them up. She asked around, and the school office manager explained that the shirts were purchased out of the slush fund that I mentioned earlier. What should she do about this, and why? I'm assuming y'all looked through the statutes that were attached, plus the book from our resource management. So I'll let you guys pipe in there whenever you're ready. What do you think, Jessica?
My first thought, just looking at the general statutes, the link that he gave us, the only thing I could find that had any relation to me was the 15C 448, which is special funds for individual schools.
Yep.
That's the only one I could find that had anything that made any sense with an extra amount of money, money that didn't come from anywhere. It wasn't appropriated to anything. And so that special funds, and it doesn't have any sort of mandates about how it's spent necessarily, just that of the way that you're supposed to,
right?
I guess.
Yeah.
And so even in the general statutes, it mentions gate money, right? So if they're buying football jerseys out of gate money, makes sense. Totally fine. I guess my first instinct would be to call the previous principal and be like, where is this money? Is there any tracking of this money? Where did it come from? Because, I won't go into the next problem, but,
Yeah.
So, yeah, the special funds for individual schools looks legal.
Right.
That's what I think, too. I don't think there's anything she can do, but maybe document and future steps, kind of not have that happen, but it looks legal. That slush fund is part of, I think, the public funds that the principal is kind of over all of that. So that's what I thought.
What'd you think, Mr. Ramsey?
I think that Samantha's kind of in a difficult situation because it's already July 1st.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that they kind of close out things at the end of the year. But anytime, even if it's a cash purchase, the chief financial officer or the bookkeeper, whoever you want to call them, has got to have a trail of, was there a purchase order? Was there so many quotes for the shirts themselves? So the first thing I'm going to do is talk about Samantha, Samantha, I'm going to go and say, where's the paper trail to this stuff? It doesn't matter if it was paid with cash or not, or what kind of fund it came out of. It just has to have, that ability to be tracked and be held accountable for because it came from somewhere. Mm-hmm. So that's what I kind of talked about, and making sure that they're following those procedures that the school has, and not just say, all right, well, as a previous coach, a lot of times as a coach's standpoint, you just want to get it done and get the stuff, get the equipment, get whatever you need, and don't want to go through proper channels because you may know somebody who knows somebody who can get you a good deal. But this is why this is here, because of those kind of transactions.
That's a good answer. What do you think, Aaron?
Well, I had thought like Jessica, as far as that article, in 115C 448 special funds of individual schools, and I noted that the Board of Education may waive the requirements of this section if it's below $300, which obviously it's not.
Right.
So I thought at first maybe this here did apply to that special fund section, and that the principal, as Mr. Ramsey noted, it's already past the fiscal year. So in my opinion, the audit may have already taken place and handled all those issues prior to the Samantha coming on board.
That's a good point, Aaron. I also saw the thing about it being over $300, and I noted that if it was over $300, then that money needs to be deposited in an official depository and special accounts. And kind of like you were saying, Mr. Ramsey, it needs to be tracked so that the financial officer or the local school administrative unit can know exactly where that money came from and where it was documented that it was used and what it was used for. So that would be my only concern if I was the principal in that situation is, I mean, it looks like she had to ask around, so it doesn't seem like it was done quite in the right way within the system. So, but I think we're all on the same page there, so that was good. Let's go to number 2. Does anybody have anything else to say about number 1? All right, so we'll go on to number 2. So a month later, Samantha's at her desk when Miss Jones, the journalism club sponsor, enters to introduce herself and angrily complain about her budget, which has decreased from $3,000 to $2,500, so $500 down the budget. She was also upset because her journalism department, I guess, had raised $550 through a fundraising event. It was a car wash in the spring, and now that money's been used, and her money is showing a $0 balance. So after looking over the ledger, Samantha calls the previous principal and asks him about it. He says, well, the athletic department finished the year in the red by about $2,500, so she took leftover funds from the club balances to make up the difference. And it says, what rights does the teacher have to complain about the budget cut? Can he do that, as in the old principal taking leftover funds, I'm assuming? And 3, what can you do to appease Miss Jones, the journalism club sponsor? So I guess we'll just start with number 1 there. What rights does the teacher have to complain about the budget cut? Aaron, would you like to start off?
I mean, obviously, I think she does have a right to complain about the budget cut. In what aspect? I was trying to look through the book as well as the link to determine, her rights, but I was unfortunately not able to cite any particular reference. But I did feel like she does have the right to complain. She took her time and efforts to go through and help raise that money through the car wash. So, I think that she has a right to speak.
Yeah, that's good. I found something related to using funds that are raised for a specific organization. Did anybody else find something? I was looking at the Board of Education policy manual, and it says that educators should not misuse funds of a school-related organization, and those funds should be properly accounted for. And so to me, this means that if it was raised for the journalism club, then it should be used specifically for that and accounted towards that. But I might be wrong there. So, but yeah, I agree that she has a right to be mad because somebody come out and she put together a fundraising thing and then that money got used up. I'm not really sure there's too much she can do about her budget being cut down $500. But what else do you guys have to say?
Yeah, that was me. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the $550 is a problem, and the principal will probably have to do something to make up that money because you really just can't take that money. But the $500 drop in the budget, I mean, that just happens. She can't really complain about that. That's a lot for a journalism club, just to be honest. And she can't really complain. That's just going to happen in any given year. So, but the $550 is definitely legal, if not, then also unprofessional. So, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. I most of the time, teachers really don't have a whole lot of say in budgetary issues when it comes to funding. I know you can complain but it's not always heard. It kind of makes you feel better, but in the end of things, I mean, I guess you could always try to get some more money through whatever you're going to do, a dance or whatever, and it may get spent again. You never know. But the only thing I saw, I was reading through the book a little bit, and it talked about school account funds, like if a certain group did some fundraising, whatever. It said that it had to be approved by the superintendent, but and it should stay away from the overall budget of the school. And I was thinking that most of the time, athletic department gets some money itself to spend. So those are two different budgets. So going from one budget to the next, since it was a private school account or a student account, I don't think he actually had the right to do that.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think the teacher, I'm sure she would feel good venting, but I don't think legally she doesn't have any say in the budget. That's a state thing, and it's the principal board has already decided it. So I think the principal now, Samantha, just has to move forward because there's so many things that have happened before she's even, taken her position. But I think to appease the teacher, I think she needs to talk to the athletic department and say, this is what happened, and you took from the journalism department. So I think you guys need to give back. I mean, you need from your amount of money and from whatever your fundraising is, you're gonna have to take $550 and put it back. I don't know if that's possible. I mean, the money can go anywhere, but to appease the teacher, that's what I would say. I would say I would work on getting the money back from the athletic department. But as far as the budget cuts happen all the time. I mean,
yeah,
or even appease them by just saying, having the athletic department do the fundraiser themselves and replace it that way.
Yeah.
I think we kind of already moved into number two and three. Can he do that? And three, what can you do to appease Mrs. Jones, if anything? But I kind of see it a little bit differently. I might have looked at it wrong, but according to the Board of Education Policy Manual, it's called 602 Standards of Professional Conduct, Section 2. Very official. Like I said, it says that it indicates that employees don't have the rights to use funds from a school-related organization for something entirely unrelated. The funds from the fundraisers got to be used for their intended purpose. Maybe I'm reading into that wrong way, but to me, my feeling is if I'm Miss Jones, I'm thinking like, look, I took the time to make that car wash happen, and like I need that $550 back from my program right now. So I'm thinking the principal. What can you do to appease Miss Jones? The principal needs to move some things around, find a stipend from someone else and cut that position. Or, I don't know exactly what to do, but you got to find that money and give it back to where it belongs.
Well, if that slush fund is coming from money like the gate money, like of football games or something, that's a really easy place to get it right back.
Right.
First couple of games will pay that, no problem. So that's what I was thinking. You're going to have to give her the $550 back. Just appease her for that, but and then as far as the budget, just saying, wasn't my call, but that's just how far.
Yeah.
Those are good answers. I added some things to mine. Do you guys have anything else to say about what can you do to appease Mrs. Jones, if anything? I feel like, is everybody on board with thinking that the $550 has to go back, or is that not what you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think the question is how to get it back. So
Right.
That's the tough, since the budget is already all accounted for, then it's hard to make up money that was already used.
That's that's a nice little sum of change there. I'm not sure how strapped you are, but
And I'm wondering, like, Shanetta, can you hold the athletic department responsible and accountable for, their loss on their end, with their being in the red $250? But I do understand, if I'm not mistaken, that it just wasn't that particular club that had to incur the loss. The principal took funds from different sources to make up the loss from the athletic department. So she wasn't the only club that was affected by the athletic department being in the red.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
It is.
because now you're jumping up from 550 to about 2,500.
Yeah.
Which is bigger chunk. If you do it for one, you got to do it for everybody.
All of them.
Right.
Yes.
That's a good point.
That's true.
All right, guys, let's move on to number 3. It says, I think this is a very straightforward answer, I think, but it says several months later, a teacher meets with the parents of one of his students with special needs. Realizing that their child often needs more individual attention than can be provided in a large class setting, the parents and teacher enter an agreement for the teacher to provide basically tutoring at the rate of $20 per hour. They arrange to meet after school on an occasional weekend or during teacher work days, never while whole class instruction is in progress. Concerned that this would be an ethical violation, and rightfully so, Samantha refers to the following document, which is the PDF that Dr. Neal has uploaded with the statutes and standards that we already mentioned before. What, if anything, should be done about this? Is it an ethical violation in your opinion? And if you think so, how would you address the matter, sort of, I guess, from an administrator's perspective or maybe from a teacher's perspective?
Yeah, it's unethical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unethical.
I mean, when you look at the Code of Ethics, it's obviously unethical based on just the very straightforward code of conduct that proper remunerative conduct. You're not supposed to take money, if I can say that word.
I looked that word up.
I did too.
I did too.
But you're not supposed to provide overtime or supplemental services. You're not supposed to take money at all. So obviously that, but then also under IDEA, the federal law, kids are supposed to have a free and appropriate education based on their disability. So you're robbing that child of their right to a free and public education by saying that they have to hire.
Yeah, they could increase the time the kid has in the EC class.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And also because the student is currently in her class. That's the one that I saw, that she cannot provide tutoring services because the student is currently in her class. I can't remember which one that was.
It was Standards of Professional Conduct B-4
Yep.
of 602, which I'm sure most of y'all have already referenced, but it does say an educator shall not tutor for remuneration students is currently assigned to the educator's class unless approved by the local superintendent.
Yeah.
And that's something she could do is get approval, right? I mean, if she really wants to, and she's attached with this child and she wants to do it, and then she could, go through that process and say, look, I really want to tutor this child. But you guys are spot on. I think that was a pretty straightforward answer. I did write down a couple things you guys said, modifying his accommodations, more time in EC classes. I mean, those are good things that I didn't think of that the teacher or the school leadership could take care of in order if he's not getting the free and appropriate education like you mentioned, Jessica. So you guys have anything else to add to that one?
The one thing I did add, and the question, how would you address this matter? I took it as if you were the principal. And so what I did say was to make a plan with the teacher, to say to the teacher, this is unethical, illegal, we can't do this. What are we going to do instead? Like you were talking about with their changing their accommodations or giving them a stronger IEP or whatever they need to do to their IEP to help fix that, and then go to the parents together rather than the principal throwing the teacher under the bus, shouldn't have done this, this is not okay, whatever, especially because Samantha in this situation is a new principal. So is the new principal to the school. So you wouldn't want to throw a teacher under the bus like that. So
yeah.
So you're thinking they need to review the accommodations in the IEP plan, correct?
Well, for me, I feel like is why are they doing this? Is it because of a relationship with the teacher, or is it something different? I mean, if it's just more time of getting individualized attention for academic help, then there's plenty of other teachers in the building who could help. Somebody else said that it was a current student that she can't really help. So there's plenty of people that might be willing to go out and help the child. Also, most schools have remediation funds of some kind to help kids either after school or before school to get paid to help out individuals also. So there's a lot of different routes that they can go to help that child if that was the intention that they needed.
Those were good answers. Thanks, guys. I think we're done here. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. I hope you, man. Congratulations. Is that everybody's third semester and you got 2 more to go, or?
That's right.
It's my third.
Well, I think you guys are great. It's been a pleasure having these sessions with you, and thank you, and enjoy a little bit of time off now.
All right, thanks,
Thank
Drew.
you.
I'll have this link uploaded and given an email to all you guys within the hour, okay?
It's been a pleasure, guys. Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
guys.
Take care.
Bye. Have a good summer. The rest of it.
Yeah, whatever's left.
What's left.